But the problem, Zvika, is that in 20 years from now, those that are protesting in the streets of London may be member of parliament or prime ministers. And that's also true for other countries that systematically Israel doesn't give importance.
Today, I'll be joined by André Lajst, the executive president of StandWithUs Brazil, doing advocacy, or as he calls it, education, about Israel, about anti-Semitism, to hundreds of millions. Hello, André.
Hello, Zvika.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
So you are the executive president
Yes,
of StandWithUs Brazil,
yes.
which sounds small, but it turns out that StandWithUs Brazil is actually the largest outside of Los Angeles, larger than the Israeli Stand With Us.
We are pretty much the same size in activity. We have a little bit more employees. It's cheaper in Brazil to have more people working for us. We work close together with Michael Dixon and the team here, amazing team in Israel. But it's a very, very big chapter of Stand With Us, a full independent full chapter of Stand With Us in Brazil. Yes, we have two offices, one in São Paulo and one in the south of Brazil.
It's interesting, people don't think about it outside of certain countries, but if you talk about definitely Israel, because Israel is very self-consumed and self-absorbed. The United States also a country that doesn't know a lot about the world. But how many Portuguese speakers are there in the world?
Pretty much 200 million.
200 million.
Yeah,
okay.
300 million, 220 million in
Okay.
Brazil, and then another 4 countries, Portugal,
Right.
10
Definitely.
million, and then
Right.
Angola, Mozambique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, half of the Israelis are now also Portuguese.
Yeah, they speak.
I don't know if they speak it, but
They know what is.
they have to learn a certain
yeah.
amount of words or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Caipirinha and stuff like that.
That's a big deal. I'm saying? There's so many people out there speaking a language and a culture,
Yeah.
right? And basically what Stand With Us does is advocacy for Israel.
Yeah.
Do you like that word, advocacy,
Yeah.
or
Education. Yeah.
Education.
Education.
Okay.
Advocacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, do you see yourself as an educator?
Yeah, I see myself as an educator. I'm finishing my PhD now on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and I think that as much as you know about a certain topic, more center you're going to be about that, and more less radical you're going to be about that. And I strongly believe that as much more information people get in Brazil about Israel, less radical they're going to be
Right.
on their position.
I think it's education, but also joint experiences. Like if you meet someone or have lunch with them or whatever, it's more difficult for you to hate them.
Yes.
Or to,
If you get
think
to know
they're
them.
the demon, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's super important.
Yeah, we have to show people in Brazil. We have several departments. We work also with politics. We do education with politicians. We do courses with professors. We do training with the press. We bring delegations to Israel. Since October 7, we brought 5 delegations to Israel. We're going to, in 3 days from now, we're going to have another journalist delegation with 11 journalists, leading journalists from Brazil. And of course, we have to show them that we, the Israelis, the Jews, we don't drink oil and eat glass,
Okay.
so to speak. Yeah.
In a sense.
In a sense.
So you said you're doing a PhD
Yeah.
in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Yeah.
So what's going on with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict?
Yeah. I mean, I'm studying the radicals.
Okay.
My PhD is focused on how radicals on both sides became a threat to the peace process.
Okay.
In PhD and in academics, you have to go
Broad.
You have to be academic. You
Okay.
have to be.
Right.
You have to put your wish, ideology, feelings, instinct. It's not the oped that you write.
Right.
what you
Even
think.
though, unfortunately, I think, many academics are actually activists. Well,
True.
right. But I'm saying, using that to promote a narrative that they want instead of actually learning it.
Yeah.
And then deciding, right?
Yeah. I mean,
or letting the people decide.
sure. And the problem is, after you have your PhD, many people at Harvard or the University of São Paulo or at Princeton, they use the platform that they have in order to spread lies.
Right.
But I'm talking about the document of the thesis. When you want to prove something, when I started the PhD, I wanted to prove that the Palestinian Authority, after it was created in 1994 and 1995, didn't have the will to sign a peace deal which includes the end of the conflict and the end of all demands.
Right. Or acknowledgement of some state.
Yes. And I think that Arafat lied in English.
Okay.
Big time.
Right.
And we believed him. And the world believed him. But in the end of the day, we will need to solve that.
No, wait. You started off with that,
And then of course,
you dive into it.
I'm doing the PhD in the Cordoba University in Spain.
Okay.
Cordoba University, Spain. Spain is not a very friendly country today.
Understatement.
Yes.
Okay.
And my professor, he said you have to bring both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have here in Israel. It's not the same quantity, it's not the same level. We are a country, we have a sovereignty, we are a democracy. The governments in Israel are democratic elected. We are not a dictatorship and stuff like that. So it's very different. But we do have people in Israel that they don't want to solve the conflict too.
Right.
And we have to show that and how that influence the Israeli politics itself, how that influence the decision makers, and how that elect people to run offices that will, in the end of the day, have the power and the will to resolve the conflict.
So what are the extremes, like the way you see it? It's interesting to speak to someone from the outside, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
About what's happening here. Because you had to really learn it. And by the way, you know, how many times were you on TV since October 7th?
400.
400 times.
500, yeah.
Right. So like you're a very known face in Brazil.
Yeah.
So people want to, they see you as a, I don't even know what the word would be.
It depends who. The Palestinian Federation sees me as the representative of the Israeli government.
You're a Mossad agent.
Yeah, I heard that
Undercover.
too.
Okay. Yeah. We're all Mossad agents.
Yeah, we are almost. I think that the radicals in the Palestinian side, of course, are those that are against recognition of the state of Israel, and you have the radicals in the Hamas and Jihad Islamic, but also in Fatah and the PFLP and the PLO, and I think that when you have a cause, and you became something because of the cause, and the cause is so long that you are already old, and you are a president, like for example Mahmoud Abbas and his friends. I think that the cause became so important that if you resolve the cause and the cause ends, you don't have a job in the next day.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you are vitiated in the cause.
Okay.
And you became vitiated with the cause, that the cause became more important than the solution of that very first day that you created the cause.
That's so interesting.
So,
and are we just speaking about the Palestinians or also about the Israelis?
So we could speak about the Israelis, but
this was the Palestinians.
But if you take Zionism as a cause, Zionism created the state.
Yeah.
And we have the state today since 1948. So we resolved that cause, and now we have to sustain that cause.
Right.
But it's different levels because they didn't create the state.
Okay.
And so they have the Palestinian cause, which is you have a variety of ways to look at. You have the Palestinian cause that wants to create a state in Gaza and the West Bank. You want the Palestinian cause that wants to create the state instead of the state of Israel.
Yeah.
And the Israeli side, you have those that believe that the whole area should be Israel. But you have 4 million people living in the West Bank and Gaza. So you have to resolve that. and I don't going to say it's 2-state, 3-state, autonomia,
One state,
less,
whatever.
a state with less than a state. I don't going to get into the specifics. I'm going to use what Yossi Klein Halevi, from the author of Palestinian letter from a Palestinian neighbor, had said in one part of the book that we translated to Portuguese a couple of years ago, and he said there is total justice for each side.
Mm-hmm.
If you take total justice for each side, is total injustice for the other side.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you have to resolve is that both sides need to accept partial justice.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
In order to give the other another portion of that.
And did you start the PhD before October 7th or after?
Of course. I started the PhD in 2019.
Okay.
And I changed it several times, course of actions.
And you're working. And
and since October 7, we changed it a lot. I wrote my chapter about I have a very interesting subject that inside of the thesis, which is the Islamization of the discourse of the Palestinian Authority. Because they were losing support for Hamas. Hamas started in 1988, and they started to gain more and more popularity within the Palestinian society because they were more religious. They were talking about more in Islamic terms, and the PA
I think maybe
was
more absolute.
Yes.
Okay.
And the PA was very, very, very secular.
Right.
And very, very, very for them. Moderate for them.
Yeah.
So they started to use more Islamic words in order to attract those youngers that were going to the mosque and joining Hamas. So you do have a radicalization process within the PA, within Fatah, and within the Palestinian Authority. Right. You can mention the salaries to the terrorists, and you can say that they didn't condemn the October 7. You have a lot of elements that you can look at and see that they have been experienced a process of radicalization and schools to be against, of course, the
existence of the State of Israel.
Yeah, and the discourse that is very comfortable for them to say. Wow. Because politically speaking, they are trapped inside of rhetoric. Because if a Palestinian leader, for example, comes and says in front of an audience in Ramallah or in Tulkarem that come on friends, we arrived in the time that you have to compromise, they're going to be killed or jailed. So they cannot say that. So they say they want to resolve the conflict, but they didn't change the discourse inside of the Palestinian society, and that also goes together with the education and curriculum in the schools and stuff like that. So in order to resolve the Palestinian conflict, you have to have, for example, education for the Palestinians for peace.
And that, does not exist at the moment.
No.
Okay. And what about the radicals within Israeli society?
We do have...
We're not necessarily comparing, but there are radicals.
Yeah.
Every society has, extremes.
I think that Israel has, for example, when we started Oslo, the Rabin government introduced a peace curriculum inside of the educational Ministry of Education. And after Shimon Peres lost the election, and a couple of years after, they took out this new
program.
This new program. Yeah, this new program. I'm not talking about that they don't teach in the Israeli society about peace. They do teach a lot, and we have an open society that's talking about that.
Yeah.
But I think that after October 7th, Vika, I don't think the Israelis want to talk about that, and I understand them. They don't want to talk about peace. I know a lot of people in Israel, pro-peace, in the peace camp. It's not the time to talk about...
peace processes.
Peace process.
Yeah.
First of all, bring back the hostages.
Right. End the war.
And without Hamas on power.
Right.
And then a couple of years after, they
easy. Easy.
They can
Yeah.
talk about the peace process.
Right.
So we do have in Israel society a rising extreme. What do you call? You have extreme left
Voices.
and you have extreme right, and those extremes were in the past very, very, very small. When we as a society in Israel have to be very careful to avoid them to become bigger. We can't afford to have extremism.
But I think in general, right, when there's either a war or a country or population that goes through, what happened on October 7th and since October 7th, then you automatically become more nationalistic.
Of course.
Or more extreme, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
but not listening to the voices from outside or whatever because you're in survival mode.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I understand that there is a time for peace, a time for war, and Israel proved to the Middle East that we are not joking about protecting the country and hitting those that we want to hit with the resolve that we need to have in order to hit like we did in Lebanon and we did in Iran and we are doing in Yemen and we did in Gaza. I think that Israel lost before October 7 the fear that we need to sustain in the Middle East in order to survive, and we gain that. I think that those actors, non-state actors, and even state actors in the Middle East understand that Israel is not joking when they say that they're going to hit and eliminate those threats. This is very important, but it's also important to protect the image of Israel in the West. Without that, we can't survive here.
So how's Israel doing in the West?
The public diplomacy and the prestige and the credibility and the hasbara, let's put like
Quote
that.
unquote hasbara. Yeah.
I don't like the word, but
Nobody likes that word.
The situation is catastrophic.
Okay.
How to say in Hebrew? Catastrophal.
Catastrophe. Yeah.
And I think that is I understand why we are using very big firepower to fight the war, and of course the world is blind to terror. They don't understand how how business is done in the Middle East in order to protect. We are doing our best to not hit uninvolved people and to eliminate the threat. But the world doesn't understand that. They think that the world is the world is too long. Too many lives were lost, and we have to stop that and leave Hamas there. I don't think it's possible for Israel to afford.
Well, they don't
that.
think about Hamas; they think about Palestinians,
Yes.
right? And I think that's
But the situation
that's Hamas's success.
Yes.
Which is it's not the terrorist organization; it's the starving children, etc.
And I think that we do have a lot of friends in the world, and I do think that the situation is catastrophic in about the public image of Israel. In the eyes of the population, not talking about the government relations with Germany and France and Britain and Japan and Australia and the United States, Israel is doing okay.
We're talking about the masses.
We're talking about the masses, but the problem, Zvika, is that in 20 years from now, those that are protesting in the streets of London may be member of parliament in the future.
Or prime ministers.
Or prime ministers. And that's also true for other countries that systematically Israel doesn't give importance.
Doesn't invest in strategically.
For a certain reason that we don't understand why, for decades and since the beginning of the state, the country never gave attention to the periphery countries.
Right.
But in the UN, one vote is one vote.
Right.
Luxembourg has one vote, Brazil has one vote, and Bolivia has one vote. And that's very important.
But that's true, but with Brazil being so big and so influential, it's not just that one vote.
Of course.
It's a lot more than that.
Yes. And that's the why we have a situation that there is no ambassador of Brazil in Israel now because the president of Brazil, Lula, took out the ambassador after the crisis last year. And now the ambassador of Israel in Brazil is finishing his term. And Israel sent the agreement to the MFA, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Brazil, and they never answered. So Brazil will have an embassy without ambassador.
Wow.
Until the next government takes over, or not.
Possibly, right.
Yeah, because next year is elections, and maybe Lula is going to win again. So it's going to be another 4 years without a Israeli ambassador for Brazil, which is the 5th biggest country in the world and the 9th economy in the world.
Wow.
So it's very important, and this is a chronic situation about. I'm very. I do have a lot of compliments to the diplomacy and the foreign relations Israel has with many countries, but the situation of our image in the world is very bad. Never in the history of the state has been so bad as is today.
Right.
And we do have a lot of work to do as an organization to protect the country, to protect the image, because this is also important. It's not just the army.
Right.
It's also the image.
So you mentioned the Israeli government, and I agree the government isn't acting enough or in a strategic way. And I think you said
I think that they do have a strategy, but they don't put the enough
emphasis.
They don't put enough money into that. For instance, MFA, the budget, 1 billion shekels a year. What is 1 billion shekel? 95% that is to salaries.
Yeah.
5% is to projects.
Yeah.
So it happens to
right.
have
The embassies have
50 million shekels a year.
The embassies barely have any budget, if any, for projects. Right?
And especially the embassies in the
periphery,
countries.
you're calling
yes,
that,
yes,
right?
yes.
Right.
So it's a problem.
Yeah. Right.
It's a problem.
So you have to always
and
collaborate with local.
And Qatar is winning big time.
Right. I wrote a column a while ago. I think pretty much looking at their model of they're so tiny, smaller than us, but they're able to use their funds, huge amounts of funds, to influence faculties, etc. Now, if we used all the Jewish donations or the pro-Israel donations in a smart way, we could also have more of an influence, but we're not.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, we are not doing that because institutions decide for themselves what they want to do and the projects and the mission.
No, but the institutions have to listen if you're donating to them. You understand?
Yes.
So when Bill Ackman says, "Okay, I'm pulling my funds from Harvard," and many people join him, then they have to reassess.
Yes.
Okay, so instead of there are those saying that Jews donate buildings, but they don't care what's being taught in the Middle Eastern Studies department.
That's a very nice point. But I do believe that governments have more ability to raise and to put money in projects. Israel is a very wealthy country.
Yeah.
We have a GDP of $500 billion, and the government spends 400 billion shekels a year. And I do believe that 1 billion shekels to the whole Ministry of Foreign Affairs is not a lot. It's very low, and it could be 3, 4, 5 times bigger than that.
Or should.
They give 14, 15 billion shekels in coalitions agreements between the parties. They are important, but the Israel image in the world is too important to be not looked, and is not being looked as it should be, and especially after October 7,
right.
in a area that we have social media, in the velocity and the speed that information goes and fake news is spread. In the velocity, in the speed of light,
right?
And it's a very problematic issue that if we don't look at now, in 20, 30 years, is going to be much more difficult, much more difficult for
when
Israel.
The war, let's say in a month or two, the war is over, Hamas is not in power, hostages return. I would assume that within a certain amount of years, Israel could improve. You know what I'm saying? You know, people have short memory.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we have one thing that's going to happen before that,
Okay.
which is when the war ends and Gaza border will be open, you're going to have a flow of journalists going there.
Right.
And I'm
You're
not,
dreading that day.
I'm not sure it's going to be the next day after that, because I don't know what they're going to report.
Right.
And we do listen that in Brazil we do have relationship with a lot of important journalists. All of them, without exception, they say the day that Gaza border will be open, we're going to go there and
Report.
yeah. Report. And I don't know what they're going to report.
Right.
And we don't control
Yeah.
what they're going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Fake news, not fake news, numbers. But I think that we do going to have a lot of we're going to face another crisis after that.
Wow. I wasn't thinking about that, but yeah, it's a big
It's going to be
it's a big challenge.
When a war starts, it's headlines for a couple of weeks, months, like the Ukrainian war.
Yeah.
And then it goes down.
We see it in the numbers every day.
And then it goes up and goes down.
Yeah.
After war ends, it's going to go down.
Right.
But when they go to when journalists going to enter Gaza,
Right.
it's going to go up.
Human interest stories, interviews,
Yeah, and going to be a lot of
ruins,
ruins and pictures and documentaries.
Yeah.
Cinema, pictures. Yeah, it's going to be very problematic.
Okay.
So we're going to have a new challenge in the future, and we don't.
By the way, do you have like a plan for how you act when that happens?
I think that it's very important for the Israeli media to go to Gaza.
I'm saying you as StandWithUs Brazil.
It's education. It's all about education. It's showing everything. It's really talking. It's contextualizing. Is giving context. Is giving access to people here, to journalists, and to. We did, for example, during the couple of weeks, we gave Brazilian media access to documents and to people here in Israel. There was those journalists from Al Jazeera that were killed.
Mm-hmm.
This famous guy, forgot his name, that was from Hamas too.
Right.
So we created documents and we assessed documents and sent to the press in Brazil, showing that he was in the payroll of Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
So
And how did the media react?
many outlets published that.
Okay.
Not maybe as in the
In the headline.
headline, but
it was mentioned.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So that's
So we do have a plan that we have to bring more journalists to Israel. We have to do more lectures for journalists in Brazil. We are bringing important people. For example, we're going to bring Bernard-Henri Lévy from the famous French philosopher to Brazil to talk to journalists too. So we have to continue to do that in order to give the Brazilian press a better perspective from the Israeli side.
Are Israeli authorities cooperating with you?
Yes.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
like, do you need more cooperation, or is it
No.
Is it lacking, or is it
No, we do have contacts with the many ministries, with the army, with the Israeli embassy.
So with information, photos, videos, whatever.
Everything that we want.
Okay. Because in the past it wasn't always like that.
I know. But I do believe that they are understanding more and more the importance of public diplomacy. But now we have to put more resources on that. It's not just will. You have to put more resource. For example, there is one spokesperson in Portuguese in the army. There was a very close friend, Rafael, he was an attorney in the army.
Yeah.
But he became the spokesperson for Portuguese because he spoke Portuguese.
Right.
But he's a lawyer. He worked in the persecutor, the army persecution.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a very important voice in Brazil as a spokesperson in the army.
You would think we're a country with people from all over the world, right? So many languages, dozens of languages, hundreds of languages people speak here in Israel, but we're not putting them in front of cameras.
There is one spokesperson in Portuguese.
Right, for 220 million people.
But we need 4.
Right.
And why the department is so small?
Right.
Let's put more effort to that in the spokesperson unit in the army.
Right. By the way, my personal perspective, I served in the spokesperson's unit in the army, so I'm able to also criticize when needed, whatever. But they, at a certain point, were the only functioning spokespersons, anything
in
Israel.
Yeah.
But they're wearing uniforms,
which is not good.
Which is not good.
Yeah.
And Daniel Hagari is amazing, but he's in a uniform.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we needed.
In 2014, we did use a lot of videos from the IDF to showing that the nuke in the roof, the knock in the roof bomb, the civilians to show canceling attacks with the cameras.
Right.
The bad thing that when journalist came to me and said, "Listen, this video is perfect. The only bad thing is that says in the end IDF." I said, but the video is from IDF. Yeah, I know, but the person that is already oriented not to believe, they don't going to believe.
Right.
They're going to say that it's fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the critic. I mean, in the end of the day, if he says it's fabricated, we don't going to convince him, even though the video would not be from the IDF.
Right.
So we do have a problem. But yes, the IDF has the best spokesperson unit
in general
in the country.
Yeah.
Is a lot of people, very very smart and intelligent and creative people.
I think also.
It's very important. It's not enough. We have to have more on that.
So let's talk about StandWithUs Brazil. So you said you have, I think, 30-something employees. How many of them are Jewish?
Half. A little bit more than half, 60%.
Which is important, I think.
Yes, 40% are not.
Is that, by the way, is that something that you? Is it part of like the business plan, quote unquote, or is it just something that happened?
No, it's both.
Okay.
We have positions that we want them to be from the Jewish community because they do work with education and they work in the Jewish community. For example, youth movements, the Jewish federations across Brazil and stuff like that. We do have a very big department that cares about campus activity, university activities, programs. So it's a person that needs to understand about the Middle East, education, and programs. And we do have institutional relations, a person that have to be a diplomatic guy that works with the professors, creative programs and stuff like that. But I think that the strategy is that we need to have a kind of voice, and we have to have a message that communicates to the non-Jewish community. Brazil has 100,000 Jews and 220 million people. So and last year we reached 100 million people, 105 million people in Brazil, together with all the stuff that we do in several departments. How we create a message that is digestible, fair, reasonable for the non-Jewish people. We have to understand how they look to Israel. So it's important to listen
to speak also in nuance.
So our director of communication and culture, Sabrina, is non-Jewish, and she created. She's the first employer of StandWithUs.
Oh, really?
She started since 2018.
Wow.
And I listened to her and I said, okay, she has the perspective of a non-Jewish woman living in Brazil.
Yeah. Wow.
So I have to listen André, you have to do it that way if we want to reach those people.
Right.
Because we from the Jewish community, and I lived in Israel for 10 years, we are vitiated in a certain kind of
That's why you
message.
don't understand. It took you a while to understand that when it says the IDF created a video, that's a problem, right? And she understands it.
Yeah, of course that if this video is the only video available,
100%.
we're going to use that video.
Yeah. But I'm saying it's the sensitivity.
Yeah, the sensitivity of that. So,
Okay.
for example, yeah. So we try, for example, during our work with the press, when we bring journalists to Israel, for example, we don't meet them. We do meet them with the army, but it's more orientated to journalists. When we bring people from the academia, for example, in February this year, we brought 15 professors, coordinator of international relations courses of public and private universities from Brazil. We brought them to meet professors and counterparts.
Okay.
At Reichman University, Hebrew University, Tel Aviv University. So we have to have this. We have to be aware of that. We have to be aware of that. So it's very important to listen to those that have different opinion, that have different opinion of our opinion, and of course we have left wing, right wing, progressive, conservatives.
Yeah.
StandWithUs is an organization, and I can speak for Brazil and also for the international too. We are a variety of opinions that from the left, from the right, all Zionists, all want to protect Israel image and support Israel, fight antisemitism, educate people about our history and about our country. And that's very important for StandWithUs.
I think it's interesting, that since October 7th, many Jewish communities who were critical of Israel became more connected to Israel.
Yeah.
Also because a lot of them were criticized from their neighbors, people at work, I don't know, etc. But also, organizations like you suddenly become maybe the center of the Jewish community, even though it's not your mission statement, right? You're not
officially representative of the Jewish community.
Exactly, and you're not organizing bar mitzvahs, and you're not whatever, right? Because this is a major part of identity and of survival.
Yeah, I think that Zionism is one of the most successful ideology of the last century, of the 19th and 20th century. And many Jews that are not religious, also the religious, but also the non-religious, they see Israel as a home, and they looked Israel as a part of the identity of being Jewish. And I think that after October 7, even though those they were very far away, that sometimes on Yom Kippur went to a synagogue. Maybe they didn't fast for 10 years, 15 years. And when they saw the pictures and the videos on October 7, and they saw what happened to the communities in the south, and the hostages families and the hostages that were taken from their homes, and I think that something happened in the ethos of the Jewish war Jewry. Let's put like that. And I think that many, and I have experienced that we gain a lot of new donors that never donated to the Jewish community, that are very far, very not
integrated within the
very
Brazilian
not
society.
integrated within the Jewish community, and they came back, and they came back for good, because now they understand why it's important to protect Israel.
So what's the conversation you have with the donor like that, right? They come, they ask to meet with you, or you ask to meet with them? Both. And then what do they tell you? Like, give us you don't have to give names.
I normally ask how they are doing.
Okay.
And what's changed. When I ask them what they were doing on October 7, how they got the news. and what they experience afterwards with friends and family. Sometimes it's intermarriage,
Right.
sometimes friends, good friends, sometimes at work, and how they feel the connection with Israel today. And sometimes I ask, now you understand why, how important we are and our work is in Brazil, and say, yeah, now I understand that. I didn't understand that until October 7th. Now I understand, and I want to help, and that's very important.
Is it the sense of many people felt on October 7th that Israel would cease to exist? Is it anti-Semitism? Is it like what's
It's a combination
Okay.
it's a combination of course of many feelings. I think that in the beginning of the war, I think everyone was a little bit afraid. I think even Israelis, even
Yeah, 100%.
I think me and you.
Yes, definitely.
I know the power of the IDF, but in the beginning of the war,
We didn't see the IDF.
after that, no, not on October 7, but on October 8 and 9 and 10 and 12, I think, before Biden sent the ship, the Iranian foreign minister that died in the helicopter crash, he said on Twitter, "Time's up." And the world was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? And yes, after you visit the north and you saw the plan that Hezbollah had to invade Israel with 5,000 terrorists from Radwan, you saw that Israel was more vulnerable than you ever believed that we could be.
Right.
So, and I think that these kind of feelings affected the Jewish community, and of course, anti-Semitism. The rise of anti-Semitism in Brazil, the rise of anti-Semitism exploded. Like, I mean, 1,000%
Really?
of
incidents
and people reporting incidents to the Jewish community, violent and non-violent.
Wow.
I mean, violent, physically violent,
but also
and
graffitis
and protests in the streets and stuff like that. But we are far. Brazil is far. It's not the United States. It's not London. It's far. You have a protest from the extreme left, from the left, and from the part of the Palestinian diaspora, Arab diaspora. I'm not talking about everyone, because I know there are people from the Arab diaspora that support Israel. The Lebanese, the Syrians, the Druze. We met now the Druze. Syrian Druze living in Brazil. We met them.
That's fascinating.
We met them. We met two guys that came to the office without showing the face, saying what's going on in Sueda. They have family there. They were very afraid.
Wow.
And they said, we saw your video. You are the only one in Brazil talking about that.
Right.
And 1,000
supporting the Jews in Syria.
And 1,000 Syrians died in 3 days. I mean, it's their October 7th.
Yeah.
And anyone is talking about that.
Right. And they were with us on October 7th.
So we are now integrating with a very good contact with the Syrian Druze in Brazil. They are living there for the last 10 years. They escaped Syria after the civil war started, and it's a very very important friendship that we have to cultivate.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're a very successful, prominent leader in the Jewish community, in the Jewish world, in a diaspora. How do you see, where should we be going, or where do you expect us to be going, the diaspora Jewish communities? Like, what do you think the next layer, the next level of these communities is?
In which field?
I think Jewish life.
We have to strengthen ourselves. We have to strengthen our institutions.
Because a lot of them are, you and I know, right? Not everyone watching necessarily knows, but like, a lot of them are very old school, doing things in a very certain way. Tradition is an important thing,
yes,
right? But sometimes it's also limiting.
Yeah. So, new leadership. You don't need to change leadership. You have to cultivate the new leadership to become the leaders of tomorrow. First thing. Support institutions. If you are a doctor, if you are a lawyer, if you are an engineer, if you are a private person, you have to support. Everyone has a role. There is a role of a journalist. There is a role of the executive director, StandWithUs, and a Jewish activist. There is a role of the philanthropy. We have to have the circle and working. The wheel have to continue to go because it's an engine that has to continue to work. So I understand that we have to be united. The differences between us now, we have 3 synagogues, 4 opinions. You know the drill. So we have to put our differences.
I would say 3 synagogues, 9 opinions.
Yeah, it's the famous island joke, right? With the 2 synagogues. So we have to put our differences in the side right now because we are in a very, very, very delicate position. And this position is the only thing that the other side cannot beat is our unity. When we are united, when Israel is united, is unbeatable. When the Jewish community is united, it's very, very, very hard to hit us. Very, very hard. We have the strength, we have the intelligence, we have the capacity, and we have the means to protect ourselves to the next day, to the tomorrow day. Education, community, Israel, relationship with governments, and there are many fields that we have to look at. We have to look at in the academia, to new institutions, new research institutions in order to have a more reasonable position about Israel. We have to have more a more smart, orientated social media campaign. We have to have more a very, very important contact with governments, including the left, including those that don't like us.
Right.
We cannot talk just with people that like us.
One of the biggest challenges will really be the left around the world.
We have a strategy in Brazil. We do talk with the left and the right. We talk to everyone that wants to talk to us. I don't think that Israel is in a position, and us as an institution, we are in a position
to say no to somebody,
of not talking to somebody that wants to talk and is willing to talk.
Right.
Okay. There are people that are anti-Israel, and there are people that are critical to Israel. I mean, they are in the 50% up, but they are very critical. Our role with those people is to do the maximum that we can to make those critical not become anti, and to try to take some anti to become critical. They don't going to become
huge pro-Israel
huge
supporters.
Zionists.
Yeah, okay.
Huge Zionists. But if we succeed to take some important people that are very anti, not by antisemitism, sometimes they are anti because they are not educated, and we have to educate them. So let's educate them. Then you can be you become critical. Become critical. No problem. But if you assume that we have the right to exist here, it's enough.
Wow, fascinating.
It's one strategy. It's one of the strategies.
So André, this was a fascinating conversation.
Thank you.
And
thank you for everything that Jerusalem Post does.
Happily, and thank you for supporting Israel.
Thank you.
It's not
thank you for having me.
It's not a given. Thank you so much.
Thank you.